All right, everyone. I think that we can get started. Some more people can join as we go. But I'm Brenna Buckwalter from Build Pulse, and today we're going to be presenting on how to make the switch from a one-time project to recurring revenue and 5 ways to transform your energy consulting business. As I said, I'm Brenna Buckwalter from Build Pulse, and I'm here with Rolf von Sosen.
Hi, Brenna. I'm excited to join today. I run marketing and customer operations and product at Lucid, and this has been something that's been really exciting to see how the way we've worked with our customers and the way we've worked with a lot of energy services companies to be able to help them transform some of their business in how they approach customer relationships and how to really transform things into this ongoing relationship, and for service providers an ongoing stream of revenue.
Yeah, great, Ralph. And we've talked about this a lot, and switching that strategy from the one-time project to the recurring revenue. So to get started, we're going to talk about really what continuous value means, and then we're going to go over what that traditional static snapshot looked like and what the new strategy of recurring revenue looks like. And then we're going to move forward to strategies for success in that model. And then we'll open up for Q&A. And feel free to also send in any questions that you have throughout the presentation. So continuous value is really being able to provide your client more than a one-time snapshot. So instead of going in and doing a physical audit of a building, you are really able to keep a pulse on the building, because we say here, why take a static snapshot of something that isn't static? Buildings constantly change. There are always new issues that come up and new challenges. So with continuous value, really able to provide an evolving strategy for your client and pivot based on their needs, and develop long-term client relationships. Breaking out of that hourly model really allows you to develop an ongoing partnership with your client and stay relevant, not only from your client standpoint, but also from a technology standpoint. And that is key in growing your recurring revenue streams. And we always say that improving business processes, even slightly, not only helps your business, but it helps your clients. So I actually sat down with Brad White from SES Consulting, just talking a little bit about how analytics are changing and what data means to consultants today. And looking at the old model, he said the problem was that there was a lot of data, but there was just very little that we could do with that data. And there just weren't great tools available to really provide value to clients, other than just digging through that data and spending a lot of time in the numbers. And in doing that, you miss a lot of things, and you're not able to really take a deep dive on everything. Nobody has the time to do that, especially not facility teams, who are already super busy. So really having an analytics tool that helps you properly analyze the data without all that time is really key. Also, something that's ongoing and cloud-based, so that you can get a long-term historical view of your building health.
I mean, Brenda, I think this is, one of the things that we're really seeing is this complete shift in the paradigm, where we used to live in a world where it took a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of effort to get a complete view of some of the key performance indicators and how energy was being used, how buildings were performing. And because of that, it was more that you could work on a snapshot that took a long time to get, and then you would do a bunch of work based on that snapshot. Mm-hmm. The opportunity we have today is that with the technology that exists, we can take this data and compute this information very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. So one, we can always refresh the data and look at new developments and how things are being impacted. And secondly, what becomes critically important is the ability to see trends over time in much shorter amounts of time. So it's not like you can get it takes all this effort to get a snapshot 1 month, and then you get it again the next month, or even the next quarter or 6 months after. We're now looking at being able to get this information on a continuous basis, which really allows for a whole different set of services and level of optimization that is available.
Right, and it also switches our view less on the past and more to the future. So with those extended trend logs, we're really able to create predictive models for what might happen in buildings based on weather, based on season, or say in a school or university setting based on when students are in and out of classes and different occupancy rates. So it really does change a lot about how we are able to use these analytics. So adopting a new model for success under this recurring revenue model means making the switch from those one-off projects. So one-off projects really limits businesses to linear growth, and that is because gross revenue potential per employee is flat, and you can always hire more people, but you're not going to get more projects or more work out of each individual employee because it's just a finite resource, and it just takes time. And really, with automated analytics, you can serve more customers, and you're not limited to that linear graph as you see on the left. And instead, you can really increase your revenue stream per employee, and keep those costs low. So you're really growing your margins, and your business becomes scalable with analytics. So we talked a lot about, I guess, the business side of this and how this helps your business, but really, in the end, are we providing a quality service for our clients? And I think that more than creating short-term revenue and short-term profit, keeping your clients happy in the long run creates a successful business. So providing an analytics solution like this is really helpful to them because facility teams are understaffed and they're overworked. They don't have a lot of time to be going through data or to really prioritize their own tasks, which is why they hire consultants in the first place. But these analytics allow them to give an ongoing solution, I guess. And these action plans, climate action plans and sustainability plans and things like that are just really too large for teams, and teams struggle to implement them effectively because it is just amount of work without a great action plan. So replacing that laundry list of to-dos that comes from a building audit with smaller goals will help measuring and verifying add up over time for a big impact. And here I always use the example of moving stones. So instead of taking on this huge goal and trying to tackle it all at once, you just move one stone every day, and after a period of time you have a hill and then you have a mountain, and it's really great for teams to focus on just the top priorities, and then moving on after those are really fixed. And I think that really, that ongoing relationship really helps your client, and also it lends itself to a recurring revenue model. And really for consultants in any industry, just best practices for consultants in general. Customer retention is always less expensive than new clients. So it's smarter on your business's side, and it really benefits your clients.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're seeing, Brenna, too, a lot with either from customers that my professional services team works with, or a lot of the energy service companies that work with, is that the clients are really thirsting for people to come in and be able to complement their own teams with some of that subject matter expertise in terms of the analytics and the numbers and how to leverage that technology. Because for a lot of companies and a lot of teams, those are new skill sets, and they're not necessarily skill sets that they have the ability to invest into a full-time resource, or more than even a one full-time resource, to do nothing but look at this data and integrate that into the workflow. So I think it's just a fantastic benefit to the customers and to the facilities teams and the operations teams that are thirsting for that expertise in how to harness the power of the technology and the data.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ralph. I think a lot of teams are really a little bit intimidated by using analytics, just because it seems like a lot to take on by someone who isn't experienced in that. And that's a great service that consultants can provide. So really in recurring revenue, when we say that, we're talking about providing long-term insight and analysis instead of doing a manual audit-based one-time project. So using analytics to put in place a recurring revenue model, analytics enable your team to set actionable goals, prioritize issues by cost savings, focus capital expenditures, and really be true advisors to their clients. And I'll take a deep dive into each of these sections. So using analytics to set actionable goals for your clients, again, moving away from that laundry list of to-dos that comes from a manual-based audit and a static snapshot. And instead of that laundry list, really creating a roadmap and a set of goals for that team to achieve that are, that are actionable, that are verifiable, and then that help that team move forward, not only in saving energy costs and things like that, but also just for the team's workflow and their ability to enact change in their building portfolio. And again, I use that example of moving stones, and that small tasks every day add up over time. Prioritizing issues by cost savings is also really important because you're able to identify low-hanging fruit for your clients. A lot of times we see, facility teams that end up spending $200 on a problem that may only be costing them $2. So we want to spend $2 on fixing a problem that is costing them $200. And those are arbitrary numbers, but just to give you an example, and helping teams really figure out what are the big issues and identifying those problems and how to fix them, and highlighting simple changes that will make big impacts. So we see a lot of things with just scheduling and runtime, things like that will make huge impact and that take very little work to change. And another thing that we've kind of tried to flip is now we're fixing problems now instead of calculating energy savings later, based on a predictive cost saving. I think in the past, teams would spend a lot of time calculating exactly how much cost savings would come from fixing an issue. And what we really want to do is enable teams to make a change and to spend more wrench time and less time digging through data. And then they can verify those energy savings later based on the predictive model. Also, focusing capital expenditures is really important. It helps teams focus their budget and prioritize their investments. Finding what equipment needs to be upgraded and what equipment needs to be replaced and where their top priorities are with that. Is a great help to them just in focusing their budgets, and also having conversations with people of other departments, whoever else they're working with, and also getting most out of their current equipment's lifetime. So a lot of equipment, needs to be upgraded far before its expected lifetime, and that's because it is running too often and overcycling. And by being able to pick out those issues, we're able to actually, extend that equipment lifetime and reduce those equipment costs over time by a significant amount. And this one, I think, is the most important, just being a true advisor to your clients. That's where, those long-term relationships and trust come out, and being able to constantly provide value for your clients past that one-time snapshot. And also on top of that, being able to evolve your strategies based on their needs, which are always changing based on their buildings and also based on their administration and whatever energy goals that they have. So being able to walk them through that really sets you apart as more of an advisor. And And also, following up that recurring revenue, remote consulting analytics also enable you to really take the path of remote consulting, and with a cloud-based solution, your team can troubleshoot remotely. So you don't need to take all those trips to site in order to add value to your client. And you're also able to share that analytics platform with them. So you can provide value when you're not working and when you're not at your desk, and be just a continual source of value. If something comes up, you can be there online right away instead of having to schedule a meeting or a trip to site.
Yeah, and Brenda, I think this is something that I really want to underscore that I've experienced personally with my team at Lucid, our professional services team, as well as with service companies that we work with. And this is this, again, what I was talking about before, it's about this looking at ongoing trends and being involved and looking at things that are happening in real time versus this very sort of sequential, hey, every month I'm going to look at something, or at certain times I'm going to look at something. This allows us to really be in the loop and monitoring things almost really actually in literally a real-time basis, working with customers all over the US. And to work with also, it makes it pretty easy for us to distribute the work among different experts on our team as well. So it really helps us to get a sort of a closer relationship that's an ongoing relationship with the customer, because we're always kind of involved. It's not a matter of us going there physically. We can get a lot of work done and be, really as informed, or actually in a lot of spaces, we're more informed because we're looking at the stuff in real time for our clients.
Great. And I'll hand it over to you, Ralph, now, and go over some strategies for success and really how to put this into play.
Great. Yeah. If you can go to the finding the right solution, the 5 things to look for. So the 5 things that we're going to talk about is, how do you find a solution that will work for you and your clients? Because a lot of this is based on, there's kind of like a lot of things. It's based on 3 things. It's based on having the right people in place, the right processes in place, and then the right technology in place. And I want to talk about how all those 3 things kind of come together. And there's 5 pieces. It's got to be, the software that you choose, the platform that you choose has to give you information that's actionable. The overall solution you design has to be scalable. You have to integrate a lot of different pieces of information. It has to be able to provide strategic value and direction, as well as, obviously, last but not least, it has to be cost palatable, right? It has to make sense in terms of the ROI of the overall solution. So going on to the finding the actionable slides, is the questions to ask is, will this offer provide a measurable roadmap of solutions for my clients based on real-time data and ongoing analytics? Is it going to be able to provide very specific actions that customers can do in terms of whether it is reducing peak demand, whether it's alerting to maintenance that needs to be done, whether it is drift that's happening in certain buildings where things have been optimized but are now drifting out, whether it's being able to, in a comprehensive way, see where the impact is most important. Brenda brought up this very important point earlier, right? Sometimes it looks like, oh my gosh, yeah, this building's so out of whack, let's really focus on this. But at the end of the day, you only have a small amount of savings potential versus in another building or another part of the campus, there might be a huge, much larger amount. And sort of one of the things that we always like to talk about, because it so shows, is a heat map of building schedules, for example, right? On the left-hand side, if you can show, hey, before you have this very frayed turn on time and shut off time for a building, does that give you a quick, visible way to be able to isolate certain things and be, hey, let's take this, let's trim this down, let's figure out what the exceptions are, and be able to act on that and see some impact right away for the customers. And what I found with my team is, it's always important to find that low-hanging fruit right away to be able to quickly show some value to the clients and to the customers. Going on to the next slide is finding the right solution in terms of it being scalable. Does it provide the ability to set up both one-time and custom projects? And I think this is all about, having this methodology, and this is a little bit more about the process, right? Do you have this mindset in place that you have a methodology going in that is all about finding an energy baseline, plotting energy savings kind of along this journey, and then evaluating and adjusting and recognizing success, then reassessing that. And I think it's important to really reach out and bring people into that methodology. When I say people, I mean your customers, right? Bring them into that methodology, how you approach this, so they can then work with you in making this scalable, in making this sort of this methodology of finding the baseline and moving from that baseline through it. And that then gets them, right. That is what creates that partnership, and not moving away from a one-time project. The next one is all about being an integrated solution. Does the solution that you design integrate and normalize existing and new building automation systems so clients can see all of their data in one place? And I think one of the places to start there is really understanding what data customers are interested in seeing. And that kind of goes back to the two things we just talked about, right? It is what is actionable, what is going to make an impact for them, then understanding that what is the baseline, what's important in terms of establishing the baseline. And then you really take a look at, okay, let's do an inventory of what information we have, what can we access to. Here, what I have found personally is in partnering with customers, here is the time to have that discussion about what are you, what are you willing to invest, and how much do you want to modernize potentially the information that you get, and being prescriptive and teaching about the value of, say, real-time data, about real-time actions, how much that can save, what the reliability of some of that information are, and be at different information sources. But it's really critical here to have this foundation, because I think that will then put you as a service provider in the position where you have this unique view and visibility into their overall energy consumption and building and equipment, that you can provide super unique value to them. The next one is about being strategic and being able to have a solution that will help with the firm's ability to provide strategic counsel and long-term value to the clients versus just tactical projects, right? So now this is the time, if you've hit hard on being able to provide that actionable and immediate value, I think that then gives you the credibility, and it gives you the opportunity to be a strategic consultant. And this is, I think, a critical step in moving from a one-time project relationship to an ongoing project relationship, right? It's critical to be in that first step, have that actionable place where you can make a value, establish your credibility, but then be able to follow up with, hey, I have this strategic view, I have this strategic vision about where we want to go and where we can go with Mr. Customer, your portfolio and your campus or your building, and being able to provide them with visibility so they can see the impact, so they can see the information that you're gathering, and investing in a solution that will allow you to do that. And lastly, it's about cost. It's about ROI, right? It's about finding the right solution and the right offering that fits the model that you want to be able to have with this customer, right? If you're investing and you're working with the customer in a maybe providing new software or a new solution, it's okay, is this offering going to justify the client's price range? Does it justify their cost and time investment? And I think one of the biggest things when you talk about technology here is, do you want to go down the path with this customer of an on-premise, big upfront cost, smaller ongoing costs type of investment, which is sometimes really hard to do because of the large upfront investment and a lot of times the very time-consuming and fairly risky sometimes ability to get everything implemented, versus going with, what a software as a service type of a solution where you have a small upfront investment, a little bit bigger ongoing, but still it allows you to then tune the overall costs of the solution with the revenue stream and the savings that are being produced. So my experience, and this is, whether it's with the in the energy industry here, whether it was with customer relationship management in a previous life, the software as a service solutions provide a fantastic complement to a energy service, to a services company and a consulting relationship that's an ongoing relationship. So with that, Brenda, I'll hand it back over to you.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. I'm excited to hear your Q&A, and Ralph, you can read those off to me because you have.
Yeah. One of the things that I was asked here is about how do people, sort of, if there's any experience in terms of transforming a customer that is a project that you've had one project with, and is there a difference in sort of approaching them and turning them into a recurring revenue stream? I don't know if you have any experience with that, and but for us, we've seen some of the customers we've worked with where what they actually do is they look at some of sort of acute issues. Sort of there's an acute peak demand issue at a very specified facility or something, and what companies have done, they sort of parlay that into then saying, hey, this is a great opportunity to get better overview into all your portfolio and all your energy to avoid this happening again. I think this is one of the one of the sort of big things that resonates with customers. Hey, let's talk about avoiding something that we just worked on again. Let's make sure we get proactive on doing these kind of things.
Yeah, I think making the switch from reactive to proactive maintenance is big for a lot of teams, and I think that is, leveraging those analytics is one of the only ways to really get into that. So that could be a strong call to action.
Another question is about certain types of markets or clients, industries that are more welcoming or have adopted this recurring model. What have you seen from the Build Pulse side, Brenna, in terms of industries or markets that you have focused on or that you've seen a lot of reception?
I think that this industry in general is a little bit behind of other industries. In other industries, most consultants really work on this recurring revenue basis. And I think that our industry is just a little bit slow to really embrace analytics to their full extent. And I think we're just seeing it more and more, especially with thought leaders in sustainability and energy management, really pushing this new way to commission buildings and to cut down on energy costs. So we see it a lot in universities. We see it a lot in our energy consulting clients who work with facility managers, hospitals. I think that it's something that's definitely picking up in the last couple of years, and will definitely continue to expand more and more into our market.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing, and one of the things that I'm seeing is a lot of campuses, and I'm using that word very liberally. Virtual could be virtual campuses, where there are a lot of different types of buildings with a lot of different types of devices and maybe building systems, maybe types of meters, sub-meters, sensors. and people that are looking to consolidate those things to a unified picture. We definitely see a lot there where there's a lot of opportunity to provide value. The other really interesting place that we're seeing now is in manufacturing, where some customers are really looking to peg the energy analysis and the building performance much closer to the commodity that they're producing, and use that as a way to analyze that. I think the other questions that came up early, I think we covered in some of the conversations that we had. So I think we've completed what we wanted to cover here. I really appreciate everybody joining us today, and hopefully, this gives you maybe a new perspective or a framework to think about how to establish a certain part of your business to address some of the needs of customers that are more in this ongoing relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Brenna, back to you.
As a follow-up, I'll definitely, as a follow-up to this webinar, I'll send out a recording so you guys will have access to this, and also an infographic that this presentation, I guess, has been based on, if that's a good way or a framework for you to think about this strategy. But thanks everyone so much for your time, and hope you all have a great Thursday.